Hi, folks. Dr. Jim Gishwin. Sorry it's been a bit, but I've been working the polls. A lot of people down here in Florida are going to early voting. That's a fact. It's wearing me out. I've worked both weekends now for early voting. And first day of school is tomorrow, so I got to get ready for that. And anyway, wearing my white hat because I'm one of the good guys. All right? We remember that from the old westerns, don't we? Anyway, former intelligence analyst, and here's my take on things. The Iran thing, the only way this is going to end is if the people of Iran and the Kurds in the northwest of Iran, at this point, I don't care if the Kurds get involved or not. Well, we all know that 90% of these people are Persian, and they're really being occupied by a foreign IRGC. In other words, from the Muslim Brotherhood. The Muslim Brotherhood formed a pact with the former communists that after the Soviet Union fell, and they have the same goals, which is strange because communism is anti-religion. Okay, understand that. You have to be devoted to the state. That is the religion in communism. Okay, I'm gonna take this thing off. Anyway, and it should be understood that they're using the mosaic method. In other words, if Tehran falls, they have given orders to all the other provinces and all the other localities to keep up the fight. It's IRGC, no matter who's in charge, and they just appointed the former head of the IRGC security to be head of their national security. And they're also sitting there proposing a bill in their little get togethers, okay, to sit there and criminalize anyone that does interviews with the West or any friendly countries to us. So they're sticking to it. And like I told you before, if there's two IRGC people still in control, that's the key thing, they're in control. They think they've won. They're still going to this 1,000-year-old concept that Islam is going to rule the world. Okay, most of the Persians do not accept this thing because they do not want to sit there and see Armageddon. They want to return to the Western wear and stuff that they did prior to 1979. And by the way, that is when they declared war on us. Get that through your heads, okay? When they imported the Ayatollah Khomeini from France and overthrew the Shah of Iran. Of course, we started some of this stuff by putting the Shah of Iran in power. Unfortunate past. We've made a lot of mistakes in the past, and we just got to rectify them. President Trump is the only one that hasn't kicked the can down the road, and he's increasing the economic pressure on them. I'm afraid that the economic pressure is going to get too much on the people. Okay, we're trying to support the people in an uprising against them. It's worked in other places. It's worked in Nicaragua. It's worked various places before. Just ask some of these old-timer CIA guys that went in for regime change. Okay, we can do it. All right. But there can't be two IRGC commanders still alive, quite frankly. And the Persian people have to sit there and take care of that themselves. We can't do that. Okay? We can't afford that many bunker-busting bombs to get every single one of them. And that's why we're going the economic route. Trump sitting there saying he's going to annex the Strait of Hormuz and make it a U.S. territory, for God's sake. I don't know, that's going a little bit too far. I think all we have to do is just take Carg Island, control Carg Island. That's been my thought from the very beginning. Okay, and it wouldn't be too hard to do because we bombed that thing so much there's probably only 2 people left on the island to defend it at this point. And of course, we have their carrier. We got 11 carriers, and we're having a hard time with them, getting them deployed and keeping them deployed. I've been on carriers. I've been on about 6 of them, and I know long deployments can get very morale busting. Okay? And there's no good Liberty ports out there for them. I know that. All right. So unless I go all the way down to Mombasa, that would be kind of a good Liberty port. Anyway, they got to have brakes. And these new electric catapults are not working. That's why one of them was recalled to sit there and fix them. We don't have a problem with ammunition, although we are gearing up our military-industrial complex again, which is a good thing, because we shouldn't be depending on buying parts and stuff from enemies. We learned that during COVID when we had to buy respirators and masks and everything else from China. We have to be self-sufficient, not just in oil, which we are. Okay, so we're basically doing this for the world. You got to understand, this is a big 3D chess game that Trump is playing. There's a lot of people becoming allies to us that never would have been before. We're looking at doing the blockade of the land routes, and we're working with those people, except Afghanistan. But that border is so rocky and mountainous, it's hard to get things across that border. All right, that's all I got. This may extend a little bit, so put up with your $3.50 or $3.35 a gallon of gas. I'm trying to. Take care. God bless the United States of America. 250 years, man. And remember, I did that piece saying that most great civilizations only last 250 to 300 years. And remember this. I was a Cold War warrior, as many of you out there were. I was born, I'm the same age as Red China and Israel. Okay, so I've lived it. And I've seen in the previous century, and I teach history, unfortunately these new kids, that's why they're into socialism. They have not seen how it's failed in the past, and I try and teach that. It only causes misery. Okay? The only thing socialism and communism causes is equal misery. Remember that? Anyway. And I teach them, I said, where do you think all these communists went when the Soviet Union fell and all those other countries? They didn't just disappear into the woodwork, folks. Now the enemy's within the gates. They're doing what they said they would do, infiltrating many of our institutions. And now they're not sheep's and wolf's clothing anymore. They have shed that sheep's clothing, and they're actually proclaiming themselves communists, not just progressive, not just democratic socialists. Okay? They are communist, Marxist. And that means ownership. That means you will not have private property in the future. So take care, folks. God bless you. I love you. God bless America. God bless President Trump.